Everybody ready? Let's say it again together, 2 more times. Artoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Vasya Rupasya Virartha Paribringhita Artoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnaya Gayatri Vasya Rupasya Virartha Paribringhita. So, this verse is from Garud Purana, and it is establishing the glory and importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam, saying that it is the natural explanation or commentary of the Vedanta, Artoyam Brahma Sutranam, otherwise known as the Brahma Sutra. It is the deepest meaning and essence of the Mahabharata, Bharatartha Vinirnaya. It is the Gayatri Bhashya Rup. Its very form or Rup is that of the expanded meaning of the Gayatri mantras. So it's the purport of the Gayatri, and it is the essence of all the Vedas and the expanded commentary also of all the Vedas. So basically what it's saying is that the Srimad Bhagavatam has everything in it. Vedanta Sutra, Mahabharata, the Gayatri mantra itself, and all the Vedas. Because Mahabharata is also considered very important for all of those in Sanatana Dharma, because within the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita is present. So the Mahabharata, the Vedas, and Vedanta are considered the most important texts for those in Sanatana Dharma, or what is known today as Hinduism. But really, we call it Sanatana Dharma, the eternal Dharma. It's not something that is like a religion. Religion has a starting point and end point, but Sanatana Dharma is eternal. All right, so the Bhagavatam is the essence of the Vedas, Vedanta, Gayatri, and also the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a very important verse. All right, so we have 15 minutes, so I'm going to continue the topic of yesterday and tell another story about for whom the bell tolls, or for that which is for those who are going to die. Martyanam kimutashisaha. We learned this verse, right? What was the verse goes? What's the verse? Martyanam kim utashisa tulayama lavenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kim utasisa. So even a moment's association with the saintly devotee of the Lord, who is himself a dear associate of the Lord, cannot be compared to obtaining the heavenly planets, getting liberation, or what to speak of those benedictions or boons for those who are ultimately going to die. Martyanam kimutashisaha. Like decorations on a corpse. There's no point of putting so many gold and jewelry and ornaments on a dead body. There's no point in it. So Martyanam kimutasisa. So one time Narad Rishi was traveling, because he is very merciful. Narad Rishi is the perfect example of the sadhu who is always traveling everywhere to help everyone. Mahad vichalanam nrinam grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyata kvachit. He's always traveling to help everyone awaken their divine consciousness, awaken them to the nature of the real self and the reality and the relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he was traveling like this. He came to a kingdom, and in that kingdom he came to a nice farm where there was a landlord. He went to the landlord and he spoke with him. He said, now you should spend some of your valuable human form of life in bhajan, which means understanding or learning about your true nature, about your relationship with Krishna, and trying to establish that relationship and transcend your mortal body. Because he said, look, you're going to die. Today or tomorrow or in a few years, there's no guarantee when you're going to die, but everyone has to die. This world is described as Martya Loka, the land of the dead, or the land of the dying. Everyone here is dying. From the moment that you're born, every day you're getting older, you're getting closer to death. Everyone is celebrating their birthdays, but really it's 1 year closer to death. And yet people are so attached to these days, and they have big festivals. And then when people leave also, then they have death days. For Baddha Jivas, they're always celebrating their birth and death. But this is just celebrating our bondage in the prison of samsara. So it's very foolish actually. We're celebrating getting born into the bondage and dying and being reborn into bondage again. This is our celebration. Therefore, Prabhupada doesn't like celebrating conditioned souls' birthdays. He said, you should celebrate birthdays of liberated souls. Na karma janma bandhanam vaishnavanam cha vidyate. When you celebrate the births or appearance of the Mahabhagavats, liberated souls, then this also lets you become liberated like them. It is said, Ayur harati vai pungsam udyanastan chayanaso. When the sun and moon rise and set, they steal away the lifespan of all beings. But only those who are absorbed in Harikatha, remembrance of God, of His associates, of His pastimes, then time can never steal away their lifespan. They become transcendental to time. It's the only way to defeat time. Because then you yourself become immortal. So there's no point in celebrating your mundane birth and death, because this is not the birth or death of the soul. What is that verse in the Gita? Najayate mriyate vakarachin. Najayate means the soul is not born. And namriyate means the soul does not die. Najayate mriyate. Vakarachin, at any time. Nayang bhutva bhavita vanabuya. Not in the past, not in the present, not in the future. Ajo, it is unborn. Nitya, it is eternal. Sasvata, it is pure. Purano, it is the most ancient thing. Nayang hanti hanyate hanyamane sirire. It is not killed or slain when the body is slain. So therefore Narada told him, you should try to develop knowledge of the real soul, of the self, and become transcendental to time. Because otherwise you're working so hard now. We see like generally a man or a woman, from childhood they start to work. They go to school. Why do we go to school? Oh, so that when I grow up I can get a good job. If I don't go to school I won't get a good job. If I'm lame and dumb, no one will hire me. I won't be able to maintain a family. But Sukadeva Goswami said in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, are there no trees to sleep under? Do you not have an arm to put as a pillow? Are there no fruits on the trees? In Kali Yuga, this is actually, back 5,000 years ago, it was like you could live in the forest. But now, where are you going to live in the forest? It's not so easy. Vrindavan, it's called Vrindavan, but it's like a concrete van. It's not like a forest like before. That's why Prabhuji says, oh, the demons are taking over the dham and putting up big palaces of concrete. And ultimately, in time, Krishna will sweep it all away and make it a forest again. Because Krishna likes the forest. And also the sadhus like the forest. Prahlad Maharaj said, go to the forest. Anyhow, however it is, in whatever arrangement we are, we should try to do bhajan. And ultimately, everything is favorable for bhajan. Because Krishna makes it that way for us, for our own specific time, right? So anyhow, Sukadeva Goswami said, what? There's no fruits to eat. There's no bark or tattered cloth left anywhere to wear. So this idea that, oh, from childhood I have to work and therefore I have to go to school. Prahlad Maharaj says in the Bhagavatam, Tat prayaso na kartavya yata ayur vyaparam natha vindate shamam mukunda charanam bhujam. He told the students when they were going out to play, they said, oh, come and play with us, we'll do bhajan later. And now is the time for playing, and then when we grow up, we'll have some job. And when we're old, maybe we'll try to learn about the true nature of the self and our relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he said, no. Tat prayaso na kartavya. You should not do those endeavors. Prayas means endeavor. Tat prayaso, and that. Don't do those endeavors, na kartavyo, by which yata ayor vyaparam. Your life is wasted. Ayor means your lifespan. Yata ayor vyaparam. It wastes. It's passed in vain. Because why? Not tav vindate shamam. You don't realize the self. You don't realize your relationship with Krishna. And ultimately you just die, and all those efforts you did in this life are lost. It can't go with you to the next life. It can't go with you towards eternal reality. Even if it goes with you to the next life, you're still bound in samsara, material existence, in this chakra, this cycle of birth and death. What is the point? Prahlad Maharaj said, don't do it. There's no point. But from childhood, everyone's 15, 20 years in school, 25 years in school, sometimes 30 years, PhD, DLit, and then they get a job, and then 30, 40 years in working life, and then, ultimately your family sends you out into the old folks' home, or they keep you like, like some menial, useless person. Oh, they just take care of you, but with no love, and it's rare. You see sometimes, but it's rare for the children to love the parents when they're old and care for them day and night. In India, the custom is like that even after the son marries, see, when the daughter will marry, she will go to the home of the son, the man, the groom. In Indian tradition, in Indian customs, the daughter will go to the family of the man. And she will serve there and become their daughter and help there. But the son will stay at home and he will serve his parents until they leave their body. Because it said, when you were young, for like 20 years, the parents take care of us and help us grow up. Train us, give us food, pay for us education, help us, so much. At least 20 years generally. And then, okay, we mature, we can get married and start making money and maintaining the family. So for those 20 years that they served you, you should serve them in their old age. That's proper etiquette. 20 years you should serve your parents in your old age. But it's very rare nowadays. In the West, mostly, they send them to these orphanages for old people. Old folks' homes means when their families reject them, then you go to old people's orphanage. Their family's gone. And then they say, oh, we'll visit you, don't worry. And then they visit them maybe once a year, twice a year. And then even that they start to forget to do. It's very rare to find like real children who honor thy mother and thy father and serve them. It's very hard to serve. Why also? Then you have to, Purdy says, oh, serving means you also have to listen to them. When they're older, they will chastise you, correct you. And, oh, I'm independent, young bull. Why should I listen to them? No one wants to serve. Especially in Kali Yuga, everyone wants to be the master. No one wants to serve. Right? Everyone wants to be in charge. And serving another person, oh, I can hire someone to do that and pay them to do that. But where's the love and affection? So they're taken care of in some places, some more expensive homes, they take care of them very nicely. Some places they're treated like animals. Very cruelly. So Narad Rishi said, look, there's no guarantee when you're going to die. And you're working so hard for those things which are just going to leave you. You're just going to die. Nothing's going to stay with you. And that family for which you're doing everything, they'll also leave you. You're so attached. He said, no, I can't do bhajan now. I'm morning to evening working for my family. Narad Rishi told him, what's the point? When you leave, when they die, they're not going to remember you. You're not going to remember them. You're going to separate again. It said jivas come together like straws in the ocean. With two kinds of waves come together in the ocean by the wind and then go apart again and you're separated. So we come together like that. By a fluke chance, we come together. You could say like passengers on a train. You're staying in the same carriage. In one train you can think of like a town or a village. And each different compartment is like different families. And in one compartment there's like 8 people in Indian trains. 3 berths, 2 berths, mother, father, and some children, grandchildren. And another one, another family. But you don't know when the person's stop is. They're all strangers, but they meet together on the train. This is like our families. And we stay on, but the time is long for us. It seems longer. It's like 50 years, 40 years. Even sometimes not that. Mother and father have their kids and then like they know them. In the childhood, they don't really know them. When your kids grow up, you know your parents a little bit. 20 years, 30 years, something like that. But when the stop comes, you don't know. Usually the parent stop comes first. You know, death station. You know? And then you have to get off. And then a few stations down the road, the children's stop will also come. That's when they're older and they have kids also. And so we're always cycling through these material relationships. But they're not eternal, they're not permanent, they have no relation to the soul. So therefore, why should you work for these things? Instead of, Prabhupada said, Nat vindate kshamam. You cannot obtain mukunda who gives you liberation by these kinds of material fruitive work. Therefore, you should not do it. You should not waste your life in this. So Narad Rishi again told him, okay, you don't want to fully devote your time to bhajan, then at least a little bit of your time, 1 hour a day, half hour a day, he said, I have no time, come back later. So Narad Rishi came back 6 months later. He was still too busy. A year later, still too busy. He said, okay, I'll come back sometime later. He came back many times. He was just getting older and older. I said, no, later. I'm very busy looking after the affairs. Now I have grandkids. I have to look after the grandkids' affairs. When they have kids, maybe I'll come and do bhajan. He's so attached to his family. And this is also one kind of anartha. Why? First, anartha is Swarup Brahm, mistaken identity. And then from that first anartha, we start to mistake other people's identity and start to collect, like from atoms to molecules, grabbing hold of other people and binding them together in a family, like a family molecule, family unit. And then we make these associations and we think, oh, this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my wife, this is my husband, right? And then it's drag it apart. So in this verse, so we're talking about that, Martyanam Kimutasisa. So Narad Rishi told him like that. But finally he came back 1 year and the father was dead. Martyanam Kimutasisa. All his life he worked for that which is only leading him to death. So Narad Rishi thought he was so attached to his family that definitely he's still nearby. Because wherever you're attached and whatever you're thinking of at the time of your death, because of your attachment, you'll come back to that place. He was very attached. So Narad, being very intelligent and self-realized, he said, oh, he is certainly nearby. You know this story, yeah? You don't know the story? Okay. Yeah, she knows. Okay, good. Okay, so then he was looking around and he saw one big bull plowing the fields. And he went to the bull and he looked in its eyes. He said, Kailash. His name was Kailash before. He said, Kailash. And the bull realized at that point, he remembered. Because sadhu's nature is that they're very powerful. They can give this recollection. It's like the story of Madhvacharya and his bull. Remember? Dondapat. He was a prince in his next life. But in his previous life, he was the bull of Madhvacharya. And as a prince, he was drinking water up to his neck in the river with his horse. And Madhvacharya's disciple came along and said, oh, Dondapat. He was like, oh, and he remembered. And he said, you're drinking water like a bull. Because in the last life he was Madhvacharya's bull. So then he remembered, like that, So when Narad came and he said, oh, Kailash, then he remembered his past life. And he felt a little bit ashamed. And Narad said, now will you do bhajan? And he was like, he said, why now? Why not? He said, no, now every day I'm tilling the fields, plowing the fields. If I don't work very hard, how will my family maintain themselves? Now I'm not there to support them. So at least as a bull, I can do hard work. And through my hard work, we get nice crops and harvests, and I can feed the family. If I wasn't there, what would happen? So he said, look, Kailash, last life you wasted your time also, and now because of your attachment, you'll lose this life also if you don't listen to me. He said, look, maybe later when I'm an old bull, and I put me out to pasture, then maybe. He said, no, do it now. So he came back 2-3 times, he still didn't do it. So then, one time he came back, and the bull was gone. He said, because he was so attached to this family, because of this anartha, it's a very difficult anartha to escape from. One of the most difficult. It's very difficult because we make these loving relationships we make with family are the reflection of our real relationship with Krishna. We have to have relationship in this world. So we leave Krishna and really we should have a relationship in a family with Krishna. We have our family there. We have our relationship with Krishna whether as a parent or as a friend or as a beloved. So giving up this relationship, we make relationships in this world and they're very also powerful, very hard to give up. So he was so attached he couldn't give it up. So then Narad said, okay, Kailash, I'll find you. So he looked around, he couldn't find him. Finally, he found one big bulldog. Why? This is evolution backwards. De-evolution. When you have this kind of material attachment, then you go down from one higher species to a lower species. First he was a human, then he was a bull, now he's a dog. He said, Kailash, looked in the dog's eye, Kailash. And then he began wagging his tail, nodding his head, yes, Kailash, you remember. Very happy, like a very happy dog. Narad's patting him on the head. Okay, look, Kailash, now, again you wasted life, but now even you're a dog, I give you the intelligence by which you can do bhajan. Listen to me. But he was barking, no. It's not possible. I have to defend the family. Now I'm a bulldog. At night time, I stay guard so that nobody comes and steals any of my family's property. Now I'm not a bull. I can't do hard work. Daytime, I rest and take some food they give me. Nighttime, I'm a very good watchman, watchdog. He said, look, do bhajan now. He said, no, I can't do bhajan now. So then Narad came back, and what happened? He told the dog, look, if you don't do bhajan now, again you'll die, and you'll go down to even lower species. He said, no, when I'm an old dog, when I have some nice puppies and they can be watchdogs for me, then I'll sleep on the porch and meditate on God. So then again he came back and the dog was gone. So then he said, I have to find him. He must be somewhere nearby. So he searched and searched all over the farm. And finally he saw this like big cave. He asked the family if there was some creature living on their land. They said, there's a big python. There's a big snake living in this area, and we never go in that area. So they went, and he like found the snake, got it out of its hole, looked in the snake's eye, and said, Kailash. And the snake was like, yeah. Yep. It's me. You know? And he's like, still you're not doing bhajan. Now you're a snake. He said, what are you doing now? What's your excuse now to not do bhajan? And to realize your true nature and make relationship with Krishna? He said, oh, I'll tell you a secret. You know? I'll tell you a secret. He said, in this hole, when I was a man, before I buried all our treasure. And I developed a lot of wealth and I buried it here. And I'm protecting it now so no one comes and steals it. See how much attached he is? Even though, how are they going to find it even? But he's like so attached. He's thinking, anyhow, I love my family, maintain my family. Okay, it's good, serve your family. But you should give all your time and energy to that. Give some time for Krishna and developing a real relationship. We're not saying don't take care of your family. That's not our message. It said, Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvidyeta yavat amat kata shravanado vai shraddha yavan na jayate. Until you develop taste for Harikatha, then you're not really qualified to give up everything and worship Krishna, because you still have this karma vasana, this nature to do karma. So Krishna says, do your karma, karmanyevadi karaste. Do your karma, but do it for me. Meaning, offer the results to me, then everything becomes graced by me. Everything becomes my blessings. And then you make relation with me stronger and stronger. So that's the proper way to do it. But he wasn't at all giving any time, even 1% for Krishna. So finally he told the snake, okay, you still won't give up your attachment, then I'll have to give you some, like the school of hard knocks, some strong medicine. So he called the family and told them, look, I found out a secret that where that snake is, there's a big treasure box. So you should come, and as long as the snake's there, he won't let you get to the treasure. You should come and you should beat the snake with a stick. Don't kill it, just beat it nicely and make it leave the farm, and then you can get all the treasure. So the family came and with a big stick, the sons who are like his great-great-grandsons, they beat the snake, kicked him out of the farm, and got the treasure, and they were very happy. And the snake was like, he left. And then Narad followed him. He said, okay, Kailash, now you understand. Look, for so many lifetimes you've been serving them. Ultimately, they're just beating you and stealing everything, all your hard work. They take your hard work, but really how much love is there? It's said in Vedanta Sutra also, in the Upanishads, that the wife is not dear because of the wife, only because of the husband. Means only because of the self is the wife dear. And for the wife, the husband is not dear because of the husband, only because of the self. The father for the father is not dear, only for the self. The mother for the mother is not dear, only for the self. It's all based on this kind of selfishness. And until we realize the true self of the self, Krishna, then we cannot escape this cycle of anartha. So therefore this story is told. At that point, then the snake was like, okay, I'm ready to do bhajan. So he did bhajan, and very quickly he could achieve success of life. And within a few lifetimes after that, he got liberation and was freed from this bondage of samsara. So martyanam kimutasisa means all these endeavors for things which are meant for those who are going to die is a waste of our time, especially as human beings. The purpose of human life is savai pungsam puro dharma yato bhaktira doksaje ahaitukya pratyata yatma suprasidhati. We should perfect our life by performing the process of bhakti yoga, transcending material bondage, realizing our true nature, our true self, and establishing our relationship with Sri Krishna. Otherwise, everything will be in vain. Panchakalpatrubhisya kripasindubhyacha pritanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay, one more time the verse. Artoyam brahmasutranam bharatartha vinirnaya gayatri vasya ruposho vedartha paribringitam. One more time. Artoyam brahmasutranam bharatartha vinirnaya gayatri vasya ruposho Vedartha paribringhita Gaur Pramanande Harihi. Let's go.